Hi, I'm Sarah and I am the designer behind Extraordinary Chaos. And I thought I'd do a bit of a chatty video. I'm a bit scared actually, because usually I'm hiding behind my scissors and a craft project. But I just thought it's a really unsociable hobby, isn't it? Crafting and or business. Some of us run it as a business, some of us do it as a hobby. And it is quite unsociable. And sometimes I love that. I love to, especially on the weekend when everyone's on the football, I like to shut myself in my craft room with a glass of pink fizz on the weekends, I will say, and just craft. But other days you think, a bit lonely in here. So I thought I'd just share a bit about myself and the community I'm hoping to build here on YouTube. So there's probably one or two people watching now at the most. But the community I want to build here is people like me and people that love crafting, people that get that sometimes being on your own in your craft room is the best place to be, but other times it can also be quite lonely. I mean, I remember in 2020, we won't say the dreaded words, but in 2020, when we all stayed home and people had emailed me and said crafting had got them through, and it was a real, it is a thing, isn't it, that when you're feeling a bit rotten and you shut yourself in your craft room, you do feel a bit better, and it just makes you forget and makes you feel calm. So I thought I might just do a weekly little video, me waffling on, talking rubbish, but so that we can get to know each other. And, please tell me about yourself in the comments as well, because this isn't just about me, this is a community. First thing I'm going to say is I'm just going to make a little bit of a disclaimer is that I don't snore or have a heavy breathing problem, but I do have a pug and a French bulldog. So when in my videos you can hear snoring or snorting, it's generally them two. They're down on the floor now. And there they are. This is what they do most of the day. Alf is being very quiet. This is Alf. Usually likes to walk about while I'm videoing. And this is Tiki, the French bulldog. But these are the disruptors of all work. I'm going to try and do a Friday chat, and if no one listens, no one listens. But so you can get to know me as a person, because I feel like I've very much got game face on when I'm crafting. I hope you realise by now that I'm not a person to hide mistakes. If I make a mistake, then I just leave it, because I'm definitely not perfect, 100% not perfect. And we all make mistakes. And there's nothing worse, is there, than watching someone for a bit of inspiration and they're perfect at everything. I'm definitely not that person. So you're quite safe there. And if you are, then I envy you, but and aspire to be you. I started crafting probably when I was little at school. I remember, and I'm going to make some actually. Do you remember they used to get these wooden boards, and it was like the butterfly with holes in, and you'd get threads and you'd thread it through and make a butterfly pattern out of the thread. And I remember doing those and thinking it was just the best thing in the world, and making collages and scrapbooks. And I knew then that I was definitely more creative. But then when I went to high school, I didn't even get entered for my art GCSE because my teacher said I wasn't good enough. I wish she had such little impact on me that I can't even remember her name. I just remember she was a bit of a hippie type and floated about with her long hair and liked the hippie girls. And I definitely wasn't a hippie girl. I was a girl from Essex or Greater London that had moved up north into a rural village. So I was a bit gobby and went into class, and I was creative. I was super creative, and she just didn't see it in me. She just saw my mouth, I think, as I walked in the room, and that was it. So I got overlooked and didn't even get entered into my GCSE exam. And I wish that I could remember her name so that I could tell her that she was wrong. But I suppose it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't make a difference to her, and it doesn't make a difference to me. But yeah, so I wasn't earmarked as being a creative person. I went on to be a hairdresser, and I was a hairdresser for many years and loved it, loved being creative. I went on to be a hairdressing teacher, and then started to fall out of love with it, because I loved teaching, I loved my students and all the skills, but we did loads of so much creative stuff in class, but I hated the paperwork. I hated all of the politics that came with the job, and I'm not a yes person. So if you don't agree with something I say, and that got me in trouble quite a lot. So I took the plunge and started my own blog. And originally it wasn't crafting, it was travel. And even though as my kids grew up, I told you this is going to be a real waffle fest. As my kids grew up, and they were creative. I mean, I've got 2 boys, and one of them actually got disqualified from the village fair card making competition because he won it, and when he went to get his prize he was 6, and he got disqualified because they said that I probably made it, and I didn't make it. I used to lay all the stuff out for them. They had everything there to make, and they did their own. They crafted, they made their own cards and scrapbook layouts from being tiny. So yeah, it was a travesty really that some older lady, probably my age because I'm in my 50s now, took umbrage to a 6-year-old being creative, so he got disqualified. Anyway, went on to be an architect's designer. So there you go, creativity is in the blood. And then one day I got an email in my inbox, and it was from Cricut, and it said, would I like to review a machine? And I was really talking mainly about travel and family life, and we were doing really well at that. And I thought, well, do I want to incorporate my hobby into my business? Because that's what the blog had become. I'd left college and I was doing this full time. But travel and fashion and going to events and champagne lunches, and it was all back in the day when blogging first started, it was all very glam. And I was doing that and really enjoyed it, and thought, do I want to incorporate my hobby? But I really wanted the machine, so I said yes. And I used it a couple of times, did some projects, obviously did well because I've always been a crafter, so made nice projects, designed. The very first thing I did was I thought, I don't want to use their images, I'm going to design my own. So I designed an alphabet letter. It's a bit damaged now, but I did that 8 years ago. That was one of the first projects I ever made with my Cricut. I mean, talk about ambitious. And I wouldn't even create that full alphabet now because that is a nightmare to cut. It took ages. I mean, you can see there's a bit of damage on it. I might have like put something over it when I took the photo. I can't remember. Or has it been damaged since? But that was my first ever thing I did with a Cricut. And not because I was amazing. I mean, these are all free images in Cricut Design Space, and I just put them all together, welded it, cut it out. Thought I wanted to do something different. And I started to create more craft projects, but not really tons because we were traveling and doing all that other lovely stuff. And then 2020 happened and we couldn't go out. And while all my friends were really enjoying the summer, because you remember we had a really hot summer, so a lot of them were thought, well, we will travel, so we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. So everybody sort of accepted defeat and had a summer off, and everybody got glorious tans. But I just couldn't. My brain is too active to do that. So I sat down and I'd created one alphabet just before lockdown, just on the back of that. I just did it because I fancied doing it, and I created it all in Design Space. It was quite easy. It was my floral alphabet, which is an easier version to cut to that. So I'll link that below because that was my first ever alphabet. And I just thought, well, I need to do something because I've lost my income overnight. I'd lost my business. No one's traveling, no one's spending money on travel. We're not even allowed to go for a walk down the road. So what can I do? And that I just got my head down and created loads and loads of craft projects. People liked them. Well, I hope they did. But I'm busy with creating files. So yes, I'm here to build a community that I love and to bring the community that I love from my blog over. I want to surround myself with lovely people that love crafting, and I want to talk about crafting and engage in crafting, and that's why I'm here. So if you're here and watching this, thank you, and thank you for getting this far. And I am going to do a Friday chat every Friday. Or maybe we'll do a tour of my craft room. I've just got a bit of a mess over here that I need to tidy up. It's never perfectly tidy. If I do tidy, it doesn't stay tidy for long. But yeah, I want to share a bit of me. I want to sit on a Friday afternoon and talk about what I'm planning for the next week in terms of craft, what I've loved crafting this week, what tools and equipment I'm using. But the one thing I do want to say to you, if you're here and you're new to crafting, is that you can achieve anything. That was my first project. I think I might have cut out, when you get in the box and you get something. And I get messages from people all the time saying to me, I'm terrified. I'm too scared to turn my Cricut on. I'm scared to craft. And I get it. I really get it, because I was like that with this, but I knew I couldn't fail because I'd got the machine for free and had to pay for it almost in creativity and sharing something with my readers. But anybody can do this and anybody can create this. And it's all about just being a bit brave, and not even maybe being a bit brave, but not caring also if you fail. Because what happens if you fail? You waste a piece of cardstock. And as I say, when you look at that close up, that's not cut perfect. But I was so proud of that because it was mine. I'd made it. And I hadn't drawn it, but I'd used an alphabet and I'd created something that I felt was beautiful. If I could give you one tip, it's just open Design Space and start playing. One letter, one flower, duplicate it a million times, make it all different sizes, and just make something floral and cut it out. The silly little things that you don't know you can do that can create magic. So please do come along with me on this journey. If you like waffling, I'll meet you every Friday for a Friday chat, and happy crafting.